Hello everybody, back again tonight. We're going to do our second video in a series of videos on our Apache helicopter gunship theme build. The last video we installed our CPU, which is a Core i9 9900K processor. If you missed that video, you can go back on my page and you'll find it on there. You can watch it now if you want to. But tonight, this video here, what we're going to do is we're going to install our storage drives. And they go underneath these heat sinks. There's one and there's two. We're going to install two drives tonight. Now let me explain something real quick. This is what a hard drive used to look like. This big metal cage with a spinning disc. These things sooner or later always failed. And you lost all your data, all your files, all your pictures and everything. That's why they always push the issue of doing backups, because these things, they will fail. It's just a matter of time. If it ain't sooner, it's going to be later. So nowadays, what they come out with here, and this is actually the same thing. And I explained in my first video how it was the size of a stick of chewing gum. Well, that's exactly how big it is. This is 500 gigabytes. This one here is 250 gigabytes. So this is twice the storage as this one, and about 1/20th of the size of it. And they go right in here underneath these heat sinks. So we're not gonna bother with these old style hard drives. We're gonna use the new storage type drive. We're actually gonna install two of these. We're gonna do this Samsung. We're gonna do the Samsung 980 Pro, which is a 500 gigabyte for our primary drive, and our secondary drive is going to be the Samsung 970 Evo Plus. This is a 1 terabyte drive, which is twice the storage as this one. So this one's one we're going to use our secondary, and we're going to put all our files on this drive, like our music, pictures, videos, documents, or whatever you have that's in your personal libraries. And this primary drive is going to be for our operating system, which is going to be Microsoft Windows 11, and it's going to be the drive where we store all our programs on. So, okay, let's get to putting these on. First one's going to be the primary drive, which is the Samsung 980 Pro. They call these an M.2 drive. They have these in a SATA version, which is a little bit older style. This is a newer version, which they call an NVME, I believe it is. But like I said, I'm not going to get into the technical stuff. I'm going to try to make these videos as simple as possible. So, okay, let's get started and putting this one in first. First thing we got to do, we got to take our magnetic screwdriver, and I believe this is number 2 bit. You got to make sure these are magnetic, because these screws are small and they will get lost easy. And you can't just buy these screws. You got to buy like a package of 100 of them if you lose it. So, okay, let's go ahead and take this out and see if we can keep from losing it. Okay, we'll get that one. We'll set it aside. You can see how small this is. There's actually an even smaller one that goes underneath this one. So we'll set that aside. Lift the heat sink off. We'll set it aside. And then we'll take our primary drive. We'll take it out of the package. Take your thumb in there and pull it up out. And you see a little notch on this side right here. And that's keyed, so you can't put it in the wrong way. We only go in one way, and it's always usually with the name up. The name facing you. So what you want to do is, there's a slot right here, and you want to put this in on an angle. And you want to push it. You push it in until the gold part of the contacts disappears, like that. Okay, then it's become just like a little springboard. When it does that, you know you got it in right. So then you take your little screw, they call it an M.2 screw. It comes in the motherboard box. every motherboard manufacturer will give you these screws. You can see how small it is. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my glasses on for this one because I don't want to lose this screw. Like I said, you want to have a magnetic screwdriver because you can lose these very easily. Okay, so once you got your drive in, and it's like a little diving board type thing there, you just hold it down. You take your little screw that comes with the motherboard. It don't come with the drive. It comes with the motherboard. And what we want to do is you just want to screw that down onto that standoff, just enough to hold that down. You don't want to tighten down on it because you will crack this here. And that can become very costly because this drive here is about 500 gig. It's about $135. So you know you don't want to crack that. So, okay, so after you get the drive in, like we just did, the heat sink that we previously took off, what we're going to do is we're going to put that back in. But later we're going to remove this again because I'm going to use an RGB heat sink, which has all the fancy glowing lights and stuff on it. So we'll be taking this back off. But just for the assembly purposes on how to do it, we're going to put this back in for now. There's a second slot on top of that storage drive. And you want to stick it in the second slot. And then take the screw that we originally took out of there when we removed this. You want to put this screw right here. It's got like a little shoulder on it. See, it's got a little shoulder on there so it doesn't crush this. You don't want to crush it down on top of that drive. And let's see if we can get this in there without losing it. Just want to start that back into that standoff we originally took out. And there you go. Your drive's in, your heat sink's on. Normally that's all you have to do. If you don't, if you're not going to use any RGB lighting or anything, you're done with that drive. Okay, so now to install the second drive, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to take this screw out. It comes with it. It's already installed. You take it out. It's also one that has the shoulder on it. You take it out. And with this one here, it's a little shorter. And it's made that way so you can put a smaller drive in here if you want to. These are 22 by 80 millimeters we're using. So we're going to use the largest section of this area. Okay, we take our drive out of our box. This is the 970. Let me see if I can get that to focus. $970 Evo Plus. It's also a Samsung drive, and this is a 1 terabyte. This is twice the storage as this one. This was a 500 gig, and this is a 1 terabyte. This is 1,000 gigabytes. Okay, what we want to do is we want to do the exact same thing as we did with our primary drive. We want to start it in on an angle, and you can only go in one way, like I said, because of the notch in the drive right there. There's a notch. So you can't put it in upside down. If you just keep the name facing upward toward you, you can't go wrong. So you stick it in on an angle, and like I said, you push on it until those gold contacts disappear. That's all you do. You just push it in, and the same as the other one. It comes like a springboard. When it goes just like a little diving board, you know you got it in right. So with this one, we only use one screw because this one's consolidated with the heat sink. So what we'll do is we'll take our heat sink that we took out a couple minutes ago, we'll stick it in the upper slot, push it down on top of the drive, and take our screw that has the shoulder on it. Has that shoulder on there so you don't crush the you don't want to crush the drive or the heat sink. And get it lined up. And just screw it in there. Like I said, you don't want to screw that down too tight. You just want to have that tight enough just to hold that down in place. That's all you need to do. Tighten them too tight, like I said, you'll crack the drives. And if you crack that drive, it's going to cost you money. And they won't warranty it. They'll check it. If it's cracked, they're not gonna send you a new one. So that's all you do for your storage drives. Actually, on this computer though, we're going to put 3 more drives in it. We're going to do 3 SATA drives, and we're going to put them on the side of the helicopter case. But that's in a later video. So altogether, we're going to have 5 storage drives in this PC. And what I forgot to mention in the first video is we got a RTX 3060 graphics card for this build. And what it's going to do, it's going to set in this slot right here. And we'll get on to that later. So other than this, and there's also a cooler that goes on top of the CPU. We're going to use a water cooler. We're going to cool this with a radiator and a water pump and a special liquid. We're not going to use air because air won't cool this good enough because of all these drives running and the CPU and being set up for just about anything you want to do on it. It'll multitask anything you want to do. So we want to make sure we keep it cold. We want this stuff getting hot. We're taking any chances of it overheating. And so there you have it. That's it for installing the storage drives. It's a short video, and like I said, it's really big difference. You know, they came a long way since they used these big old things right here. This is actually still a good drive. This actually still works. I've had this drive for probably 12 years, and it still works. But I didn't use it constantly because all it was a backup drive. The primary drive that this PC come out of, it did fail, but this one's still good. But I would never take any chances on using it for important things because it's just a matter of time before it fails. But these M.2 drives here, I don't know how long they last, but they say they last almost forever. But they do fail. I mean, I never had one fail, but I ain't been using them for about a year. So these were developed like all the later technologies, made for NASA, you know, in the military, and that's why they developed these. And then, you know, they put them in the hands of the public. You know, we benefit from it. You know, stuff first comes out. These first came out about 3 or 4 years ago, and they were really expensive then. But now, you know, they're pretty affordable. So that's your best choice on storage drives is the M.2. Like I said, we're going to also install 3 SATA drives, serial ATA drives, and we're going to install them for backups, or you know, whatever you want to put on in case this other storage drive happens to fill up. We'll always have the other ones to fall back on. But that's about it for prepping this board for the for storage. What we got to go yet on it is the memory. Like I said, goes in these 4 DIMM slots, they call them. And we're going to use four sticks of 16 gig, 64 gig total. And that's a lot of memory, because if you was probably to go out and buy a computer right now at one of the local department stores and say pay $1,500 to $2,000 for it, it would come with 16 gigs of RAM. We're using 64 gigs here, so you can see the difference. And we're doing it for like a tenth of the cost. Because we're doing it ourselves. You know, we're not paying, that's how they make their money. I mean, everybody's got to make money, I know, but if you want to save money and have fun and build one of these yourself, you know, I'm doing these little videos to try to, you know, give you some instructions. I mean, that's how I learned to do it. I'm all self-taught. Nobody taught me how to do this. You know, I watched a lot of videos and read a lot of books and figured it out. So, you know, you can do it too. And hopefully this will help you out if that's something you want to do. So I'm going to end this video with that, because like I said, I want to make these videos short. I don't want to make them, when I don't want to make them real long and extend it out. So I'm making the 3rd video in a couple days, And what we'll do in that video is we'll install our RAM, and we're using RGB RAM for this. So it's pretty fancy RAM, kind of expensive, but for a build like this on an Apache helicopter, we want that thing to look cool. And I got some special RGB wiring and RGB fans, RGB coolers. I got everything RGB, and it's all color coded to look to look like an Apache helicopter inside with all the lights and stuff. So it's going to be a while till we get to that point, but probably the funnest part is going to be at the end when we get it all put together and when we push the power button and fire it up and see if it posts. And as long as it posts to the BIOS and we can read all our components that's on this board and everything's set right in it and it works, then what we do is we'll install Windows. I'll show you how to install the Windows operating system on it. But that's a long way down the road because we got a long way to go before we get there. So that's our second video. Like I said, if you missed the first one, go back on my page, watch it, and then come back to this one if you're interested in it. So that'll be about it for this video. So thanks for watching. Everybody have a good night and a good day tomorrow. And like I said, thanks again for watching.